All right, everyone. Well, good morning, and thanks for hanging in there. It is a little bit after 8, so we're going to go a little bit over, and I'm going to try and just, give you the nuts and bolts of this. But what I was saying before is that it's amazing how sometimes life comes into your path, and you have a chapter that you studied and that you're ready to do, and then you realize that's not going to work with something life event that comes in. And so I traded with my upline MVP Beth Gallardi. And then she gave me her chapter, which is this chapter this week, which is the law of trade-offs. And I was reading this chapter and I'm like, ow. I felt like I literally was being punched in the gut at every page and every chapter. I mean, you guys, I have to show you. I mean, look at this. It's like brutal, but it's also good. And God knows when we need to really dive into something and really soak it up. And so what I did is I looked up what the definition of trade-off is. And I like to do this sometimes because I think sometimes we look at a word or whatever and we have our own definition of what that word means or what it's intended to mean. So what I want to do is I want to tell you the official definition is there's two. A balancing of factors, all which are not attainable at the same time. And a giving up of one thing for the return of another. You guys, you can't get one thing unless you give up something else. And it's not a negative thing. I know when we talk to people about this business and say, what are you willing to give up? And there's some people who are like, that's so negative. No, it's true. You have to let go and give up of some things in order to do the things you need to do to be successful in this business. It's the same with marriage. It's the same with parenting. It's the same with friendships. It's the same with family relationships. There is always a trade-off, no matter what. And so I love this because this chapter starts with you have to give up to grow up. And we all want to grow in this business. If we're not growing, we're dying, right? And it says people will cling to an unsatisfactory way of life rather than change in order to get something better for fear of getting something worse. You guys, do you automatically assume that it's going to be worse? If you're letting go of Girls' Night Out or your favorite television show or whatever the case may be, because honestly, you guys, you have to maneuver things in life to move ahead. It's a chess game, like he talks about in this chapter. What do you think it'll take for each of us to go to the next level? Me included, you guys. It takes vision. It takes hard work, personal growth, you guys. We are not moving up and forward in this business and gaining momentum and growing a team of people that want to follow us and leading that volunteer army unless we're growing personally. You guys, it just doesn't, they don't go hand in hand. And that's one of the things that's why it's in our business plan, our recipe for success is self-development, personal growth. And you guys, I have to tell you, we are so fearful of letting some of our favorite things go. And what John Maxwell says in this chapter says, it's probably one of the most thing that often holds people back is the fear of letting go in order to move forward. And you think about a slingshot, you pull that slingshot back, and no matter how tight you pull that slingshot, it's not going to propel forward until you let it go. It doesn't matter. Whether it's got a rock in it or it's empty, it's still not going to sling forward. You have to let it go in order to propel forward. And you guys, I think he talks about that businessman, but when we're first starting out in Arbonne, we're so willing to do some of the things we need to do to get that $300 paycheck or to get some of the products that we need as a discount. And we have those initial whys. And I think sometimes people come into this business with really small whys or really attainable whys because what you're able to do in this business is really remarkable very quickly if you work. And then what I think happens is we reach some of those whys and those initial whys are met and then we kind of just coast and we get comfortable. And you guys, in order for us to reach the bigger whys, the whys that maybe we don't even talk about, the deepest, darkest desires of our heart that we don't talk about, we have to be willing to let go to get them. And, it talks about the kid who grew up, his parents, very just blue collar people. He put his way through school. He got an amazing job, became a VP. And then he's like, this is not enough. No one else was pushing him. Most people in his life would think, oh my gosh, he's the VP, right? He's a corporate VP. He's reached success. It was only he who decided that he was made for more, that he was destined for more. And in order for him to get more, he had to give up the very thing he worked so hard for. He had to give up that VP title to go flip burgers. Guys, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to give up this prestigious, what you think people think is prestigious, to flip burgers, to get down on the floor and do, to get the things that you want out of this business? Are you willing to do the parties? Are you willing to wash the buckets if you're still using buckets? Are you willing to, to put yourself out there to hear the no's? Because at the end of the day, those are the things. You guys, that's hard. Can you imagine what other people have to do every day at work? What we do is not hard, but are you willing to do it? And I think it's really easy for us not to. Okay, so I know sometimes we look at this and we can't see far into the future, and we have uplines and we have sponsors that can see because they've lived it and they've been there. And I think what happens is that we're not willing to give up the now for the tomorrow. And you guys, at the end of the day, we have to be able to do that. We want to be better every single day. We ask that of our kids. If you have kids, what are you going to do? Are you getting better? Did you give it your all? Okay, how can we do that when we're not willing to give our all, to give ourselves and our family and our future a better life, right? So he talks about the truth about trade-offs, and I love this so much. And this is true to the definition. And I looked up the definition before I read the chapter. It's kind of funny. He said, we add something to our life, subtract from it, or exchange it. Exchange something we have for something we don't. Most successful people know when to do which one of those three. We know what goes on behind closed doors in our house and what's holding us back from making our phone calls. Or maybe we're watching TV for 2 or 3 hours instead of doing the things that we need to do to prepare for tomorrow, making our list of 6 most important things, you guys. Because we all know these things. It's what we're willing to do as people. Trade-offs are available to us throughout life. He talks about the marble. You guys, most people would not let go of 7 marbles to get 1 marble. They just wouldn't do it because in their mind, they're like, I have 7 marbles, but he only has 1. But that marble is that shiny, amazing thing that we all want, but we're not willing to do the things that's going to require to attain it. And you think about it, that kid was so happy with average marbles, and John was stoked because he had the most beautiful marble of all. So are you willing to give up more to maybe get a little bit less in the front side to be able to have more in the end? Because in his mind, he knew he wanted that marble and he was going to do anything it would take to get it. And he started out small, but he continued to do what he needed to do. He says, everybody makes trade-offs throughout life. The question is whether you're going to make good ones or bad ones. In general, I believe that. Unsuccessful people make bad trade-offs. Average people make few trade-offs, and successful people make good trade-offs. So if you're going to give up something significant in your life, make sure what you're doing in your outbound business is worth it. Right? Make sure you're in income producing activities. Make sure you're not shuffling things around. Make sure you're saying you're going to do and you do it instead of you're going to do this. I'm going to give up this and I'm going to do this, but you don't really do it. You just think about it. You guys, make sure it's worth the trade-off. Make sure you're letting go of this to get this. And I love everything about this chapter is about growing and striving and moving forward and getting to the next level and getting to the next level. But you guys, the next level, you leave that level that you were at before behind. And there's something there that maybe you might miss, but at the end of the day, you're at the next level and you're moving forward. Trade-offs are an opportunity for growth. This is cool. The greater gap between successful and unsuccessful people. There's no greater gap between the successful and the unsuccessful person, but choice. The more successful people are, the more choices they have made to gain that success. The less successful people are, they've made fewer choices to be successful. It's just a matter of choice. And you guys, bad choices at the intersections of their life, or they decline to make choices because of fear. How many of you let fear hold you back? I don't want to not do this. I don't want to let go of this, because what if this doesn't happen? Then I don't have this and I don't have that. You won't know unless you do it. And guess what? If you go into it wholeheartedly willing to work and strive for it, you will obtain it. And then you'll be there and you'll be ready to make another trade-off. So you guys, it's a step in progress, okay? And he says, whenever I face opportunity for a trade-off, I ask myself 2 questions. What are the pluses and minuses of the trade-off? And will I go through this or grow through this? You guys, the pluses and minuses of this trade-off, I think sometimes we overestimate the value of what we currently have and underestimate the value of what you're going to gain by giving it up. And I think that holds true for people that have back doors in this business. People that have good incomes, people that have jobs that they may love. Even though they see the potential of what this is, I think that this is where people backdoor stuff. And they're like, well, it's okay if I don't put myself out there. It's okay if I don't progress forward because I have this. So I'm really not that uncomfortable. You guys, you're selling yourself short. And you're selling yourself short in the ability to go out and offer this to someone else. Because honestly, you guys, that's what our role in Arbonne is to go out and offer this to other people and teach them to go out and offer it to someone else. And if it makes me kind of like get emotional, because if we're not doing that, what are we doing? What are we doing in this business if we're not doing that? And will you go through it or grow through it? It's easy to go through the motions in this business. It's easy to have your parties, put in your orders, talk to people about the nutrition, get people to try a skincare sample. Are you invested in that though? Or are you just looking at, well, I just put another $1,000 in my web stats. Who else wants to buy the product? You guys, there's a message behind every single client that comes through our door. They have a story. Are you taking the time to grow through the uncomfortableness of getting outside your comfort zone in order to be able to grow, but also to offer this to someone else? Because if you're not growing, you're just going through the motions. Positive trade-offs should be seen as opportunities for growth and seized. We become better as a result of them. When we grow through change, we become active. We take control of our attitude and emotions. We become positive change agents in our own lives. Because he wrote this book and he didn't know anything about Arbonne. This is what we do. This is what we do. And I'm going to read this because I think it's really important. There's an author, Dennis Waitley, that said, a sign of wisdom and maturity is when you come to terms with the realization that your decisions cause your rewards and consequences. You are responsible for your life, and your ultimate success depends on the choices you make. John says he agrees with it and years ago determined that while others may lead timid lives, he wouldn't. While others might see themselves as victims, he would not. While others leave their future in someone else's hands, he would not. While others simply go through life, he said, I will grow through it. This is my choice, and I surrender it to no one. You guys, are you going through the motions? Are you growing? Are you maybe stumbling or falling or stagnant in your business and blaming someone else? Are you looking in the mirror and going, what are you doing? Because there's not anyone that could pick up your personal business and take it to the next level but you. That's it. All right, trade-offs for us trade-offs force us to make difficult personal changes. The difference between where we are and where we want to be is created by the changes we are willing to make. You guys, he talks about we hope, and I think we talk about being hope givers and hope dealers, and we're out there offering hope, But there's two definitions of hope. I hope this business works. I hope that I'm going to have a full calendar. I hope that I'm going to finish district or area, or I'm going to go into qual for region. So hope is a great thing to have, but you guys, we must take action and create change in order to be able to be a hope giver or a hope dealer. Because if we're just basing our success on the hope that it works, how can we offer hope to someone else? And you guys, that's really what we do and what we are in this business. I love this too. He says, change is personal, change is possible, change is profitable. Change is personal. To change your life, you need to change. Change is possible. Everyone can change. Every single one of you 62 people on this book club call can change in the area that you need to if you're willing to look at it with clear glasses and be honest with yourself. Change is profitable. You will be rewarded when you change. Change is uncomfortable. Carlita always talks about the muscles and when you're sore. And you guys, I did not work out much of 2016. I was sad and all of that. And I've kept on my healthy eating for the most part. And my body did change, but not drastically. I'm getting ready to do a 90 days of fitness challenge for myself. But you guys, I am so sore right now, I can barely sleep. But I know that my body is changing and getting back to where it needs to go. Yeah? And so that's propelling me and doing other things that I need to do in my life too. Change is not always easy, but change can always be done. It's not up to your sponsor. It's not up to a sideline. It's not up to your mentor or the coach or your accountability partner. The only person that can affect change in your life is you and me. No one can change where I'm at in my life but me. I have the choice. And you guys, I think he also shares that it's important that we know when we need to change. It's important to understand when change is necessary. And I think secretly we all know when we need to or when we need to apply more, or we secretly know, but it's not until we're outwardly able to say it and profess it to ourselves that change will happen. You can think about it. You can dream about it. You can say, I really need to do this, but it's not until you actually do it. He says, when we change, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Are you guys stuck? Are you guys in a place where you don't want to be in your business? When you get to that point, there's two things you can do. Stay where you are or change. One or the other. That's it. Or you continue to go backwards, because when we're not changing, he says we're dying, right? And he talks about wanting to become an author. He realizes he's not going to reach the amount of people that he wants to, and he does all this work and all this groundwork, and basically what happens is he comes out with a 100-page manuscript, and it was rejected by everybody. And then he asks himself the question, was it all really worth it? You guys, can you imagine all that work that he did, and he wasn't seeing the fruits of his efforts? He got to a point where he had it. This is his 73rd book. He says he's sold over 21 million copies. Can you imagine if he got to that point and he didn't see the fruits of his efforts, and he decided not to become an author, to pour into other people? You guys, this is where we're 3 feet from gold in this business. We work and we work and we work. It's that 90-day increment, and we want instantaneous gratification. We want instantaneous results. We want the stuff that we do today to show up today. It doesn't. It shows up in your numbers on websites with your orders, but the growth and the progression doesn't show up for 60 to 90 days. And so many people give up. When we were doing that hike, we climbed a hike in Hawaii. And it was like a 2,000 elevation foot climb, right? Tatum beat us to the top, you guys. She kicked all of our high knees. And the crazy part is there were people coming down because it was muddy, it was slippery, our shoes were full of mud, it started to rain, it wasn't cold, but it wasn't comfortable. It was rocky, and people were falling, and people had all these walking sticks, and all of us are like, what do you need walking sticks for? You just muddle up the hill. Well, we all had sticks by the time we got midway up the hill. And then people were coming down. They didn't go to the top. They said, oh, it's still raining. You're not going to be able to see the view. You guys, for me, it wasn't about the view. I started that mountain, and every single one of us made it to the very top. We were muddy, we were tired, we were thirsty, we were soaking wet, but we made it to the top. But there were probably 2 or 3 groups of people that turned around that never went to the top. You guys, they missed just having the satisfaction of knowing that they went all the way to the top. And going down was worse because it was literally like you just slid on the mud and you just like fell and we were all covered. But what I'm saying is that we all have to continue on our path. And we may not see the top right now, but guess what, you guys? It's there waiting for you. It's there waiting for me. And it's there waiting for the person that you haven't met yet. It's not a mystery. It's just what we're willing to do to get there. And he talks about, trade-offs are usually felt long before the gain. We feel like we give up, we lose. And then, hold on. And then he talks about how we feel this loss. Maybe we're giving up going out with our friends, or I don't really have any friends but you guys, so I'm just going to be honest. But like maybe we're giving up some of the things that we normally do. There's a girl on our team that was like, I go to the gym, 5 nights a week. And I'm like, well, if you want to grow your business and you don't have flexibility, you need to give up a couple nights a week to be able to build your business. It's just the way that it is. And we feel this like stronghold on the things that we're comfortable with and that we do regularly. But guess what, you guys? We're going to have a little bit of give up to get up. And he talks about there's 2 types of personality. There's 2 types of things that help us process a trade-off. Your personality, because we all have different personalities. A lot of us have strong personalities. And your attitude. How are you looking at what you have to give up in order to get up? Are you looking at it as a loss? Are you looking at it, I'm not going to do this right now in order to get where I need to go. You can come back into my life when I have the time and it makes sense. You guys, it's an attitude. I think about Carlita's training very early on is attitude, belief, and commitment. The first is attitude. ABCs of Arbonne, it's attitude. What's your attitude? Most trade-offs can be made at any time. It's like he says, after someone makes a bad trade-off, sometimes they don't pan out, right? Sometimes it doesn't work the way we think it's going to work. People panic and then they feel like they've blown it or they get irritated or they're like, well, that didn't work. That's not worth it. So I'm going to go back because they're waiting for instantaneous results. It's just like when you're on healthy eating and you eat a cookie. You're like, well, I already blew that, so I'm going to eat the whole box because it's already a mess up, right? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Give yourself grace and start now where you want to stand. You guys, right now where you are, forget about what you have or haven't done yesterday. Where are you standing right now? And I challenge you to start change right now today. 8:35 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Where are you at in your life and your business? And what are the things you need to change in order to, to get where you want to go? Write them down. 3 things. 3 things that you could trade off right now that would open the door for you to grow. And you guys, trade-offs usually, they're kind of like hit or miss. He talks about sometimes trade-offs come only once. Maybe you're teeter-tottering in your business. Maybe you're like, I don't know, and I don't know if I want to go to that next level again. I don't know if I want to try and requalify for area or whatever the case may be. You guys, now's the time. Don't wait until it's so far away and you're like, well, what am I going to do now? It's now. It's right now, today, where you stand. The higher you climb, the tougher the trade-offs. The more you want from life, the more you have to give up. But it's not that you're giving up to get nothing. What you get in the end is 10 times better than the trade-offs that you left behind. It just doesn't seem like it right now. Because we want, when you plant a seed and you want that seed to grow and have all these blooms and flowers and leaves on it, it takes time to grow roots and to make its way through the soil and come up. You guys, instantaneous gratification will leave you mad and frustrated every single time because it's fleeting. The higher you climb, each success only buys an admission ticket to a more difficult problem. Each success only buys an admission ticket to a more difficult problem. You guys, right now, Tatum is like she's at the top of her age group in her musical theater and dance and singing. And she's killing it. She's winning platinums and she's winning first and second. But she's at the top of her age bracket. Next year, she's going into 9 to 11-year-olds. Guess what? She's going to be at the bottom of that bracket, and she's going to have to improve and get better and put in the work, because those kids have been doing it most likely longer. They've been working harder. They have more training. So it's great right now. But guess what? She's going to come back. The pendulum is going to swing. She's going to be here, and she's going to have to work. If this is what she wants to do to get better at, in order for the pendulum to swing. And it may not be till she's 9 or 10 that she's at that top bracket again. But you guys, that's the way it works. It's just the way that it works. And one of the dangers of success is that it can make a person unteachable. I think this was probably one of the most impactful things with Arbonne at the forefront, because people get to a level in this business, they see numbers in their web stats, they see what's happening in their business, and they're like, I know everything. I don't need to learn anything anymore. I'm good. I've got this numbers, people are buying, people are doing, and things like that, and they become uncoachable. You guys, I don't ever want to become uncoachable in this business. I don't care if I'm a top 10 income earner. I don't care if I stay just an MVP for the rest of my life. I don't want to ever become uncoachable and unteachable. I don't ever want anyone in my upline or my sidelines or my friends or coaches or mentors to ever be like, well, I don't even want to deal with her anymore, because she's not willing to be open to learn where she needs to grow and how she needs to progress. You guys, think about that kid that you just can't reach. Some of you on this call have kids maybe you can't reach, or maybe at some point in their life you couldn't reach them. You just get to a point where you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, right? So you guys, many people are tempted to use their success as permission to discontinue their growth. They become convinced that they know enough to succeed, and they begin to coast. They trade innovation and growth for a formula which they follow time after time. You can't argue with success, they say, but they're wrong. John says, because the skills that got you here are probably not the skills that will get you there. Look at pictures of your team when you started, and look at your pictures of your team now 5 years in. It's different faces, different people. It's going to happen over and over and over again. So you guys never become unteachable. And you guys, my heart aches for all those who weren't willing to make trade-offs, that came into this business with huge hopes and dreams and aspirations and literally deep desire because of the position in their life and what was going on in their family. And they were not willing to make one trade-off to see what the potential of this business could be for them and their family and their kids and people that they have in their life. It just makes me sad. He talks about how things change in life. We have to change. 5 years from when he wrote the book, Twitter didn't exist. The iPhone didn't exist, you guys. What would we do without our iPhone? And how is Twitter used today? The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. You give part of your life to receive something back. That may not be easy, but it's essential. I want you to think about when you see people in their Eye on Arbonne story, and when they start this business, and then like their pictures, and then you look at their pictures when they're on the cover and they're all, right? We did not start out like that. None of us did, unless you're the millennials now and they're just fancy and, they're cool. Trade-offs never leave us the same. He talks about faith. Don't feel failure so much that you refuse to try new things. Could have, might have, should have. You guys, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Remember, my parents taught me that. Faith requires choice. C.S. Lewis, he wrote the book, The Great Divorce, and he said, faith requires choice. Choice causes us to divorce ourselves from the things we once held onto. Are you willing to let go of those things in order to become who you were created to be in this business and in life, for your family, for your just your life in general? Not just Arbonne, you guys. Not just Arbonne. Some trade-offs are never worth the price. And he talks about instant gratification. He talks about the story in the Bible about Jacob and Esau. The guy was hungry and he gave up everything he stood to gain because he wanted to fill his belly. That's instantaneous gratification, you guys. You need to let that go. Here's what he talks about. The way to move forward and the way to get where you want to go is using systems. We have a system. And good choices. Two things. Choices. You guys have the ability to make your choices. And here's things he says, trade-offs worth making. Giving up financial security today for potential tomorrow. Obviously, we're not telling you to go quit your job and do Arbonne. No, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable and do it in the nooks and crannies of your day and be uncomfortable. You guys, if that's what it takes, you have to be uncomfortable in order to let go of that so you can do more of Arbonne. You guys, it doesn't all come in one package. There is no future in any job. The future lies in the man who holds the job. He says, I've always been willing to bet on myself so much that I often accepted financial risk or pay cuts to pursue what I believed was a good opportunity. Are you willing to bet on yourself right now today? Would you look in the mirror and say, I bet on you? Mary Lynn, I see your face, so I'm going to say, Mary Lynn, do you bet on you? Guys have to be willing to say that. Number 2, am I willing to give up immediate gratification for personal growth? There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. Instant gratification and personal growth are incompatible. Instantaneous gratification and personal growth are incompatible. You cannot do both at the same time. He talks about the compound effect, that book. He says, I thought this was funny, so I'm going to say it. I know we're getting... Scarfing Pop-Tarts won't slenderize our waistlands. I thought that was funny. Dancing with the Stars and NCIS for 3 hours will take away from reading a good book, listening to a training call, listening to a Learn and Burn, getting on and growing. And then having a bright, shiny, clean, amazing new pair of running shoes or training shoes is not going to make you marathon ready or fit. It's just not going to happen. He says, when it comes to personal growth and success, immediate gratification almost always is the enemy of growth. If you're an instant gratification type of person, you're expecting instant results in your business, that's your biggest enemy. And it will hold you back from growing every single time. And you will be 3 feet from gold every single time because you're expecting this, right? You guys, be ready to be stretched and to be uncomfortable. And so number 3, I'm willing to give up the fast life for the good life. You guys, he talks about this and he said, he chose to forgo the fast life in favor of the good life. Living in the place you belong with the people you love, doing the right work on purpose. Guys, the best part is you can meet all your financial dreams, all your time, like the desire to have the time that you want to live life on your terms, but you also get to do it in a way that you're being significant in the world and for someone else who has probably a bigger financial need than you, a bigger desire to have control over their time, or a bigger need. I know sometimes we're so wrapped up in what we personally need, but there's always someone else that has it better and someone else that has it worse. Are you the people that are willing to join you? And he also says a great secret to success is to go through life as a man who never gets used up. To keep yourself from getting used up, try to create greater capacity in yourself and therefore greater margin in your life. Number 4, I'm willing to give up security for significance. I know many people whose goal in life is security, emotional security, physical security, and financial security. John says he doesn't think it's wise to measure progress according to security. He thinks it's wiser to measure it by significance. And that requires growth. You'll never get anywhere interesting by always doing the safe thing. The significant thing is making a difference. The great men and women of history were not great because of what they earned or owned, but rather for what they gave their lives to accomplish. Every trade-off is a challenge to become what we really are, and if done correctly, we create opportunities to help others become who they really are. Guys, that's significance. It's not what your paycheck says. It's not us that drive the Mercedes. Guys, it's a car with 4 wheels. Okay, I have to put these back on because I can't see. I'm willing to give up addition for multiplication, you guys. Aren't we supposed to duplicate in this business? That's our goal, is to duplicate. Create the best copycats that we can create so they can go out and create more copycats to share the amazing message of Arbonne, the products, what it will do for your life, what it will do for your health, and what it will do for the future. And you guys, this isn't about us. They say it's not about you. So get over yourself. He said his attitude in the beginning was, what can I do for others? What can I do for others? But that's addition. Once I began to learn leadership, my question changed to, what can I do with others? That's multiplication, you guys. We are better together. They say it all the time. And he has his equip thing. Duplication helps others, go help others. You guys, plain and simple. Duplication helps others, go help others. You guys, we are in this together. What we do in this business, all of us are affected by it. We are a messenger of hope and of really, truly what I believe will change the world. It's going to take time, but if we stick to it and we band together and we do what we're destined to do and what we have in this business and the systems and the choices we make, you guys, nothing can stop us. We'll be a force. Here's the thing, you guys. Most people try and take too many things on within this journey. We want to hold on to the old and have the new. You can't do it. It's too much. You can't. It's not possible. He says we keep adding things without giving anything up. Then we become overwhelmed, bogged down, and we do nothing. You can't do everything. There is only so much time in a day. At some point, you reach your limit. We need to always remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Okay, you guys, here's my call to action. Hold on really quickly. One last thing. It's like checkers. I have a checkerboard somewhere, but I was going to pull it out and show you. But he said, surrender 1, take 2. Don't make 2 moves at one time. Move up, not down. And when you reach the top, you have the freedom to move as you like. I'll say it again. Surrender 1 to take 2. If you give up something, you're going to gain a couple things, I promise you, in this business. And it'll help you free you up to do more. Don't make 2 moves at once. Don't try and do 10 different things. Okay, I need to do this, 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 and this. Like, what do you really need to focus on right now? And then move up. Don't stay where you are or move down. Move up. And he said, once you get to the top, you have the freedom to move as you like. I think we all want that. So I just want you guys to, on page 191, it says applying the laws of trade-off in your life. Write down your own personal list of trade-off principles. Start by using lists in this chapter to spark ideas. You guys, I don't know where you are in your personal life. I don't know what's going on. It could be financial. It could be personal. It could be health. It could be, someone in your family that's struggling. But what are the things that you do that waste time, that keep you idle? They're like time suckers and energy suckers. And we think we're doing really great things, but we're really not doing anything. I want you to think about what you're willing to give up. And I want you to measure that in the last 2.5 months of our 90 days to consistency. You guys, marry that with the 90 days of consistency that we're doing. Because if you do that and the 40 faces and you're on point sharing, but you're also knowing where you need to release in order to get more, you guys, that's a force. So use that. And you guys, I just want you to remember, settle in and learn to live with a limitation or barrier. Don't settle in or learn to live with a limitation or a barrier that's going to stop you from growing. Don't settle for that. Don't say, well, this is just the way it is. This is just how my life is. This is just what it is. No, you're the only person in your life that can change where you are. God has a hand in that, and he's probably not going to offer you the change until he's ready to give it to you, but you have to do your part. So work as if it's up to you and leave the rest up to him. I'm done, Carlita.
Thank you, my dear. Guys, this is another thing where it's what I think is where the rubber meets the road. I mean, everything else that you have to do are things that are really very simple because this business is simple. This is what makes it hard, is deciding what you're willing to trade off and give up to be able to have what's possible and probable in this business and in this journey. And it really blows my mind. I mean, I sit here, I wonder, I don't understand how people's minds think whenever I see them make choices that they do and make, this business, because it's not easy. This business is hard. So we make it harder by all the things that we've learned. Number one, our pessimistic attitude is the number one thing. We make it harder, but we also make it harder by the simple choices that one tiny choice made differently could make this so much easier and achievable. And I don't understand how and why people want to make it harder. And so believe me, if I could fix it for you guys are like those children to me that, I watch struggle and yet I can't help. And that is what drives me and what I love, trying to constantly figure out a better way of trying to help somebody wake up to what's possible for their lives, because I can see it so clearly and all of your leaders can. But what I know I can't do is do it for you. And man, oh man, if I could, the lives you all would be living. But what I know I have to do is sit and be still and know I'm not God, number one. And number two, do my best and then leave the consequences up to you and your higher power and what you decide to do with that in your life and how you want it to turn out. So we're here for you. We support you in every step of the way. I love what we have here. We have an incredible growth environment for you to grow into anything you decide you want to be, because this environment of Arbonne and this team that we have together gives you all that you need to be able to take steps in the direction for your life. But you got to be committed, you got to be patient, and not want it instantly and give up so quickly, because I love how you said you're 3 feet from gold all the time. And that is so where everybody is, 3 feet from gold. And then you see them pull back, and then then they got to start all over again. So I'm just rambling because this chapter really is such a powerful, you see it played out in this business and in life all the time, not just in business, but life. So good job, Teri. Thank you so much. And I love that you felt like you got a chapter that helped you, because I know how hard you worked to put these together. And I hope and pray that it helps you more than anybody else. But you've blessed us all, my dear. I love you.
Love you too.